Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome back to 2D Life, where you're here to get your weekly manga and anime review. And today, we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into an anime that we all love. My Hero Academia, guys. That's right. Today we're going to be discussing their quirks, and a little more specific than just their quirks. I wanted to throw my own opinion in here, and what I see out of their quirks, and the best way I thought I would do that is to make a video about... I'm sorry, but do you guys hear that? Are you okay?
What the hell do you think? Can I come in, you idiot?
Yeah, I guess you can come in. Oh my gosh! Oh, what's wrong with your face?
Shut up, you idiot! Don't you think I know my face looks like this? It was punched off by some big, muscular guy. Anyways, that's not the reason I'm here. I'm here because I hear you're doing a shitty review about the strongest quirk in My Hero Academia. Look no further. I can fly. I can teleport. I can make fire. I can even make things appear in my hand, like this. Alright? And I bet you want to know the name of my sick quirk. It's all for one. Write it down in your gay little notebook. I have the best quirk ever. So, review over.
We're talking about the top 5 strongest quirks in Class 1A, you idiot.
What? It's not about just the most powerful quirk overall. Oh, this is kind of awkward. Well, I got this stuff to do, so I'm gonna get out of here.
Oh my word, some people are so freaking rude interrupting people's YouTube videos. You know it's especially rude? Pro-villains, and they're slaughtering millions. Yeah, you know what, that makes sense. Anyways, without any further ado, our topic. Oh wait, more further ado. 2 things. I promise I'll keep it real fast. The most important news is, look, I can't, look at this, guys, it's One Piece, one of my favorite anime. My friend went to California, and he went to this really big anime shop, and he knew this is one of my favorite anime, and he bought it for me. Love it. Got the Straw Hat Crew, little chibi, everyone. And on some less important news, I got a new camera, a new microphone. Maybe you could tell, maybe you couldn't. Been a pain in the butt to record this video. Working out all the kinks. Loving it, though. Anyways, let's jump right into the topic I was about to discuss before frickin' that villain showed up. What was it? One for All? Lame name. So, today we're going to be talking about quirks. But more specific, because it's not as much fun when you do an overview of quirks. We're going to be talking about the top 5 strongest quirks in the Class 1A. Now, before you guys all crap your pants and think I'm just going to list off the top 5 most explosive and destructive quirks out there, look at you, Bakugo. You know it. I need to explain 3 rules. And they're easy rules, and it just makes everything more fair and for a more interesting and dynamic video. The first rule. Top 5 strongest. When I say the word strongest, I do not mean, like I said, the one with the most destructive capability. When I think of a strong quirk, or like strong anything, it has to be good at like all the little things. It has to be well-rounded is what I'm trying to say. If you have a piece of machinery and it goes really fast, that's great. But if it has a really small tank, crappy tires, gets really hot, no air conditioning, no this, no that, no that, then overall it is not a good vehicle. So, same goes for same goes for quirks. To have a strong quirk, you have to be good overall, well-rounded. And I really broke that up into 3 categories to get a well-rounded quirk. You need to have good attack ability, destructive ability. You know, you can't harm anyone if you can't attack them. You have to have good defensive ability. You know, you're going to get killed if you can't defend yourself. And the third one is you have to have not a lot of weaknesses. So if a quirk is really high in any of these, let's say they're really good at defense, but they can never attack their opponent, and they have a bunch of weaknesses, they're going to be taken down. So my top 5 strongest people are the ones that are well-rounded and are versatile in all 3 of these. Also, it's not like actual power leveling or anything. It's just numbers that I assign to them. So each of my top 5 picks will have a number 1 through 80 for defense and attack, and a number 1 through 10 on weaknesses, as well as specific things they're weak to. Let's just give an example of Aizawa. Let's say he is a 7, and 10 is no weaknesses, 1 is a lot. He's a 7 on weaknesses. His weakness is to use his quirk, he can't blink. It also has a time limit. The time limit gets smaller between each use. That's what I mean by that. Okay, let's go into the next kind of rule, and this is the hardest one to wrap your brain around. And basically, the quirks I am judging is the potential that the quirk has. And this one's the hardest to wrap your brain around. And basically, I am judging the potential a quirk has. Let's take Momo. I think she's a good example. Momo has the creation quirk. It's a pretty good quirk. It's very versatile. It has a lot of stuff going for it. However, if I were to compare it to a lot of the other quirks as of right now, it would probably fall short. But who knows? In 20 years, when Momo's, let's say she becomes a pro hero, she's mastered her quirk, it could be the most OP quirk out there. It could have beaten Todoroki's half cold, half hot. We don't know that. So, I'm not judging the quirks as they are right now. And I'm not judging how the quirks are used by the student themselves. No. I want to take a quirk, make it as powerful as it can be, and then give it to any pro hero. It's not like, oh, Deku is perfect for 1 because he has hard determination. No, I want to be able to give that quirk to anyone and it still be very powerful. I am not judging the people that are using it. I am judging the quirk itself and how powerful it can be and how strong it will be. So, now that that's out of the way, it rolls us into our third one nice and smoothly. If we're judging the potential of a quirk and not the quirk itself right now, we have to eliminate the big man himself. Sorry, Deku, you can't be in this list. Because if we were talking about quirks and how strong they are right now, then yes, Deku could be in here because he is not the strongest in the anime right now. He just straight up isn't. But his potential and his quirk is pretty much limitless. We already know All Might is the strongest hero in this world, and Deku's One for All is going to be stronger than All Might's. So the potential in his quirk really just is limitless and cannot be fairly compared to the others. So, the 3 rules, again, are the word strongest. I mean a well-rounded quirk. When I'm talking about quirks themselves, I mean the potential a quirk has. And lastly, Deku is disqualified because it's just no fair. Alrighty, I think we're probably already at 10 minutes, so let's just dive into this list. And at number 5, we have Dark Shadow, whose owner is Tokiyomi. And now, before I get into this, let me just say one real quick thing. I did do a lot of research on the wiki, read a little bit into the manga, and just read some stuff online. I know a little bit more about the future of My Hero Academia. I'm going to say spoilers. There's going to be a little bit of spoilers, but nothing major. I'm mostly just going to talk about a few impressive things each person did later on, maybe. I don't even do it for everyone. And I'm not going to say who they're fighting or whatnot. I'm just going to say what they did to prove this is how strong their quirk is. That way I can just have a footing to kind of move forward to be like, okay, this is how strong it was then. This is how strong it is in the manga. I can see it being this strong later on. So anyways, back to the thing. Dark Shadow. The reason I gave number 5 and 1A, which is still very impressive for strongest quirks, is kind of for 1/2 reasons, and that's his attack and defense. He didn't have a ton of weaknesses. He wasn't like, everything will hurt you. No, but it wasn't amazing. And when I say when I say 1 or 2 things, it's because the reason I gave him this spot go hand in hand. And that's basically his attack and his defense. They literally almost go hand in hand with Dark Shadow's giant, ungodly demon hands. Because Dark Shadow acts as his defense and as his attacking tool, like his mode, that's how he's able to attack and defend himself. We all know that Dark Shadow is a monster that lives in Tokiomo's stomach, and it comes out and it fights for him. And the other big thing is it gives him an advantage in distance. There's not really any quirks out there that can just shoot someone from like a mile away. I'm sure there are some, but not a ton. So when it comes to distance, Tokiomi has pretty good distance with his Dark Shadow. We don't know the full length it can extend from his body, and I'm assuming as he gets stronger, it can go further and further. But that comes with its own risks. You know, the further it gets away from Tokiomi, the more likely his body is going to be attacked. But anyways, Dark Shadow, we have seen him just rip out trees out of the ground and rip them in half with his bare hands. That is immense destructive ability. Now you might be sitting there thinking, well, I mean, that's not that impressive, but you have to keep in mind the world we're talking about. We're not talking about the DC universe where literally every superhero can explode planets with their mind. We're not talking about Dragon Ball Z where anyone can destroy universes with their fingertip. We're talking about the world of My Hero Academia. And this is one of the reasons I love this anime, is because the superpowers are not just so OP, you have to keep breaking the power ceiling. Like, oh, you destroyed a planet? Well, I can destroy a giant star. If you destroy a giant star, I can destroy a solar system. And so on and so on. This one is much more like, hey, this is the strongest you get. All Might is the cap. You know, no one gets stronger than that, really, besides maybe Deku. So, it's nice seeing we see the cap. Okay, someone that can punch really hard. So now we know we're not waiting for someone that comes along and can destroy whole towns. So, in perspective of the world My Hero Academia and the quirks, being able to rip trees out of the ground and just rip them in half is a very destructive quirk. Not like a ton of quirks can do that. Not like, I bet no more than 6 1A quirks are able to do that, if even that. So destructive ability, very high. Defensive ability. Dark Shadow has proven himself time and time again that he's great with defensive attacks. He took on Kirishimi's lightning. His lightning attacks, it didn't have that big of an effect on Dark Shadow. He's pretty set when it comes to defensive abilities. And the only reason he only has a 75 on defense is because the other 5 characters, or at least most of them, just have a OP defense. Their defense is a defense mechanism that is just always around them. Tokiomi has to tell his Dark Shadow to block that person over there. I would say it thinks a little bit on its own. It's a sentient being, but he has to make a force come out of his body and then block to a degree. But these other characters, they kind of have a defense mechanism on all the time, whether they really want to or not-ish. So that's why his defense is on the lower scale. But they're still both very impressive, his defense and attack, and it is a huge bonus that he has such a long range. That's probably why he was at number 5. His weaknesses, I gave him a 6 out of 10, 10 being the best, no weaknesses. And the reason why is because of his thing to do with light and darkness. If he is being attacked by someone that has a light-based attack, or if it's just very light outside, his Dark Shadow becomes very meek and cowardly and not as strong. Opposite, if he's in a pitch-black room, his Dark Shadow becomes very aggressive and immensely stronger, very destructive. But he cannot control it as much. However, if we're going 20 years in the future where Tokiomi's been training with it for 20 years, I'm assuming he will be able to make Dark Shadow still aggressive-ish in light and be able to control Tokiomi and be able to control Dark Shadow in the dark. If he's able to do that, he might be bumped up to number 5. Because in the manga, some things you see Dark Shadow do while in the dark is scary powerful. Just OP. So that's kind of, I just couldn't decide, will Tokiomi be able to control him in the dark? I don't know. I don't know. So that's why it's at number 5. Let's move on to number 4 before this becomes an hour-long video. At number 4, it's someone that went back and she was on my list, she wasn't on my list, she was on, she was off, blah, 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 blah. Finally, I just was, you know what, I'm going to do this. At number 4, people hate me, people hate me. It's the quirk, Zero Gravity. User, Ochiko. Now, before everyone comments and says that's the worst ability ever, Ochiko is useless, let me explain my reasoning. Again, quirks are based on the potential that they will have. And honestly, everyone else on my list, the other 4, they all had caps. I was like, Tokiomi, wow, your cap's up here, but it's a very high cap. If you get all the way up to here, you have a lot of power, but you can't really go past it, because we just know what your ability can kind of do, and we can probably see the end results. Ochiko and Zero Gravity have no ending limits. They just don't. If she keeps training with this and keeps using it in smart ways and keeps increasing her stamina, her quirk could honestly be one of the most OP quirks in all of My Hero Academia. And there's kind of 2 big things going into that. Her attack and her defense, just like Tokiomi. But basically, with her attack, granted, right now, in the anime, she can only carry a boulder for X amount of time before she wants to puke. However, she is able to lift a whole house for minutes at a time. No one will be able to stop her. She can lift skyscrapers, huge boulders out of the ground, rip the ground out of the earth to a degree if it's already unstable. But basically, if she's able to control how much she can lift and how long, which I believe she'll be able to do after 20 years or so, her attack will be crazy. She could do so many cool moves. Going into defense, she could be able to fly in the future, just straight up. We've already seen in the anime when she was doing practice tests against Idia, and they're playing the villains' heroes. She touched herself, made herself 0 pounds, and then jumped up in the air and floated. If she was able to make herself either 0 pounds or 5 pounds, something very light, and then get some equipment like a jetpack or some shoes and be able to maneuver really fast, she could just straight up fly, and that's a great defensive mechanism. There's not a lot of people in the My Hero Academia world that we've seen. Is there anyone in the My Hero Academia world that we've seen can fly so far? Gran Toretto can kind of do it with his jet walk, but it's not for X amount of time. If she can control how long she can make herself weightless, she could fly forever, which is just a tremendous defensive thing. She can just fly right on out of there. And also, she just straight up doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses. Fire and ice, you have they're kind of against each other. Lightning, an insulator, they're against each other. But with her Zero Gravity, the only thing I could see is a quirk that used a wind, a wind type of quirk, I guess. Because if she was able to lift up objects and throw them at someone, the person could probably just, move them out of their way with the wind. But We haven't seen any really wind type users yet, and I doubt we're going to get a whole lot. When it comes to when it comes to fire-based quirks, you have so many water-based quirks, you're already at a disadvantage. There's like 6 water-based quirks already. I'm not going to go off naming them, but I believe there is. I named them earlier when I was thinking about this video. So I'm just saying, her quirk is very unique, and it won't have a lot of weaknesses. And as far as attack and defense go, I gave them both 80. So that's where she lays. And again, it just has to do with really how much weight she'll be able to lift and for how long. If there is no limit on that, if she just keeps training, she will be at the top of my list, just straight up. Honesty. Alright, let's jump into number 3. And at number 3, we have everyone's fan favorite, hoministal, sadistic, masochist kid, Bakugo himself. And I'm sure if you were here, he would punch me in the face and say, "Go die." But yeah, Bakugo, I'm sure no one's really surprised that he was on this list. And let's just talk about what got him on this list. It's just straight up his attack ability. His attack stats were at 90, tied for first and second. So basically the highest I would go. I didn't want to do like 100, because really the only person with 100 would be All Might and Deku. But anyways, we've already seen in the anime multiple times how strong his explosion quirk can be. He can blast through concrete and other very strong materials like steel. So that's why he's at a 90, and I have no doubt in my mind he's going to keep training because he's such a hard ass that soon he's going to be able to explode like entire houses if he has like enough muster and like enough gas in the engine. When it comes to defense, his defense is by far his weakest thing, just because, like I said, any fire-based quirk, you already have like 6, 7 water-based users out there. That's going to be kind of your negating thing. Fire, water, makes sense. And also, it's not like Todoroki, where he can just put up a firewall and keep it going. His is explosions. Unless he's sitting there going and just making a wall of explosions, which would tire him out. He only has X amount of sweat he can use to ignite his explosions. It would be a waste. So he doesn't have like a really big defensive hype up that he can use. So his defensive stats are only 75. Weaknesses we already covered. It's water. Anyone with a water-based quirk would kind of be his Defiant. But the reason he's so high is just his attack is just so damn strong. And his weakness and his defense are pretty good compared still to everyone else in 1A that he's at spot 3. Also, for his weakness, I gave him also a 6, same as Tokiyomi, just because there's only like one big weakness is water, but there's so many water users, you know, it might as well be a billion weaknesses. Alright, rolling in at number 2. This was a hard choice between 2 and 1. And I'm assuming a lot of people will not expect this guy to be at number 2, but honestly, I don't care because I love him, I love his quirk, he's amazing, and of course, I'm talking about the quirk Electrocution. That's right, guys. That is the second strongest quirk, in my opinion, at 1A, potentially, and the reason why is just, have you watched any anime with superpowers? Or just superpowers in general? Anybody that has electric type quirk is just OP. Look at One Piece, Inaru. Not going to go into a giant rant, but Inaru was defeated purely almost by luck. No, not almost purely. Defeated by luck by Luffy. It was just 1 in a bajillion chances that Luffy's Devil Fruit luckily negated every single attack Inaru threw at him. If it was any other person, Inaru would have curb stomped them and thrown them down back into the blue sea. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Electricity is deadly. It is super hot, it is super fast. Attack, 90, and that's not even his strongest thing. But with attack, we've already seen he is immensely strong. He can take out anyone that touches him, and he can take out large groups of people. Now you're all thinking, but if he takes out a large group of people, he gets stupid. Yes, but remember, we're talking about potential. If he is able to use his electrocution without becoming stupid, no one's stopping him. And I also think in the future, with his attack stats, the reason they're so high is I really hope he's able to shoot out electricity. If he doesn't get stupider when he uses electricity, and he can shoot out electricity, he bumps the person number 1 to like 0, because he's OP. Just no one can beat something like shoot out electricity and zap you. Because again, this is not the world of DC Comics where everyone's just, oh, a little electricity, pff, nothing. This is the world of My Hero Academia. People are still very weak. Even quirk users are very weak considering certain things. If you get zapped by like 1,000,000 gigawatts of electricity, you're going down. His electricity is already super potent. I think it tops out like 1.5 million watts, which would kill a normal human being. Just straight up cap a bitch. So with attack, I believe he's going to be able to use it on large groups without becoming stupid. So he can take out like moderately strong villains like that. I believe he'll be able to target stronger villains and put a lot more energy into his electricity and shoot one person with like a laser beam almost. I believe he'll be able to do that. And then also, defense is next. And his defense is 95, tied with number 1. But the reason his defense is like number 1 is because his defense is on 24/7, whether really he likes it or not. I believe I was on the wiki, and it stated he always has electricity running through his body. And if someone touches him in an alarming way, or it's not like friendly, like if he gave someone a hug, it wouldn't electrocute them. But if he was alarmed, or it was a villain, or someone that was meaning to do harm, his body would immediately electrocute them, whether really he was trying to or not. Basically, his electricity running through his body 24/7 as a defense mechanism. You touch him, you're getting electrocuted, you're dropping to the ground. So, it was insane amount of defense there. And not only is it like one person if they touch him, he can also just like electrocute everyone in the area, and that's an attack, but also works to a defense to a degree. If you could take everyone out, you're pretty defended. We haven't seen it right now in the anime, but I really hope later on when he's able to control it more, he's able to make like a cage around himself of electricity that's going 24/7 and no one can really like get through the cage unless they want to be electrocuted to death. That would be a great defense mechanism. Just straight up, the only reason he's not probably at 100 defense is if someone like shot him from far distance. I don't know what that would do. I don't know if like the electricity is hot enough it would incinerate the bullet, or if he would just be shot by a bullet. I don't know. That's the only reason. That's the only thing I could think of to bump him down to 95 in defense. However, the one reason he is not at number 1 for strongest 1A students with quirks is because of his weakness. It's pretty bad. He can electrocute people. We talked about Inaru earlier, fighting, guess who? This guy. And guess what this guy's made out of? He's made out of rubber. And guess what electricity does when it hits rubber? Nothing, because it's an insulator. Basically, anyone that he tries to electrocute, if they aren't a good conductor, it's not going to do anything. Just like in the weird AU Olympic things, when he was fighting against the Vine Girl, her hair was made out of like a growing organism, vines, and that doesn't conduct electricity well, so it just like went in her hair and straight to the ground. And he lost to her. Now granted, he can overcome this. I doubt he'll ever be able to really electrocute something that just negates electricity, like rubber, but I'm assuming he'll make it stronger, so maybe later on he'll just be able to burn those vines all the way through. Or 2, he'll find better ways to attack people that negate his powers. But still, there's a lot of quirks out there that I'm assuming that negate electricity just straight up, so that's why he's bumped down to number 2. So, coming in at number 1 for the strongest quirk and 1A, my man Minato with his grapes. Man, what would you do if you're just sleeping at night and some little midget pervy breaks into your room and throws grapes at you and you're stuck there? Huh? Okay, I'm sorry. I keep bashing on him because I hate him. No, seriously, my man, Todoroki, one of my all-time favorite anime characters, love in My Hero Academia. Straight up. Attack, 90. Defense, 95. Weaknesses, we'll get to that. But basically, the reason his attack is so strong is, do I even have to go there? His father, second strongest hero only to All Might himself. He has his father's ability, he has the fire side. But he also has the ice side. So he already has his father's ability, so his flames could be just as strong as his father's flames, plus he has a whole nother type of quirk in him. Gonna be stronger than his father, for sure. So if he already has the potential to be stronger than the second strongest hero out there, you better bet your butt he is the strongest. He has one of the strongest quirks in just the show in general. For attacking, for his attack ability though, I just have to reference one scene in the anime. When he's fighting against Deku in the AU Olympics, and he just has like a firegasm. And he's like, you know what, Deku, I'm going all out. Turns his fire on, and the freaking cement quirk user throws up like 6 30-foot, I bet 15 feet wide things of concrete. 6 of those like giant walls. He busts through them like they're nothing with his fire and ice. Obliterates them. As far as the My Hero Academia world goes, that's incredibly destructive and strong. Defense side. I have to talk about his defense and his weaknesses at the same time, because his biggest weaknesses are going to be fire and water. That's because he has fire and he has water. But he does have 2 weaknesses. However, he's able to negate both, so his weaknesses are really not all that important. I gave him like I think an 8 when it came to weaknesses. Yeah, you have a water user. That's not gonna be good for his fire side. But then don't use fire. Use ice. If you can just freeze all their water, then who gives a crap? If they're using fire on your ice, then you can just fight back with fire. It's not as good as ice freezing their water, but still you have an advantage over them. Knock them off guard with your fire attack and then freeze them. So as far as his weaknesses go, they're kind of just X-nayed by his own abilities. And the reason his defense is also at 95 is shown in that poster. You see how his body's covered half in ice? That's how we were introduced. The first time we saw Todoroki, I think, in action, and like the second episode where they're doing the hero versus villain thing in the first season, half his body's covered in ice. And I thought that's an aesthetic thing, it always looks like that. We find out it's not. But that means he can cover half his body in ice whenever he wants to. What do you think he can do with his other side? He can cover half his body in fire 24/7. I don't know about you, but I don't want to punch someone that has 5 inches of hard rock ice on their body. And I sure as hell don't want to punch someone that's on fire. So that's pretty strong defense. And that's just like up close if someone's trying to punch him. Farther away, he can throw up wall. We've seen this when he's fighting against the hero killer Stain. He throws up a wall of ice. I believe he throws up a wall of fire too. Very effective. I don't know about you, I can't punch through a frickin' 6-foot block of ice, and I don't want to run through a wall of fire. So, yeah. And I would probably say his defense is better than Denkai's just because he's more options. Than Denkai throwing up a wall of electricity, he can throw up a wall of fire, and if it's a fire user or any other type of user that is susceptible to fire, he has the advantage. But if they're not susceptible to fire, there's a decent chance it might be susceptible to ice or water. Or not water, but ice. So just his defense skills are through the roof. So overall, Todoroki with his quirk, half cold, half hot, wins the bet. But also he kind of loses the bet because he has by far the worst quirk name. They had a great opportunity to make an awesome name. And well, he has half water on the ice on this side, and he has half fire on that side. What about half dash hot dash half cold? Beautiful. What if they named him like Hell's Burning Hail? Hail, ice, Hell's Burning, fire. That's a sick name. Doesn't matter. But anyways, so that was just my opinion on the top 5 strongest 1A users' quirks. I would love for you guys to comment down below where you guys think I was wrong. I'm open to suggestions, or just comment down your top 5 and your reasons for them. Sorry if this video is a little jumpy. It's going to take me a little bit of time getting used to record on a camera that I can't really see myself doing things and editing it that way. But anyways, love you all. Have a fantastic weekend. And see you next time. 2D Life. Peace and out.